Good evening, Aggie Nation. My name is Brian Holloway. I am your host for tonight. You cannot see my face for some reason. I can't get my camera to work, so I thought I'd bring you a version of the blue and gold marching machine, kind of get you excited about the marching band who had such a great year in 2023, and certainly will have another great year in 2024. My co-host this evening is Miss Shamaya Tatum. Hello, Shamaya. Say hello to the people.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Yeah, and we are in the throes of a very busy athletic season right now. We're having so many games, so many events. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that. We got an exciting show here for you today. We've got our head football coach Vincent Brown coming up. We've got our new offensive coordinator, Coach David Marsh. He's going to talk with us a little bit. We're going to talk a little football, a little spring football, some recruiting. We're going to talk all that stuff and have a little fun with the coaches as well as we get ready for the 2024 season. August will be here before you know it, Shamai.
Yes. It's creeping up on us real fast.
Yeah, that's right. And with the long days that we're working, yeah, the days are going by really, really fast. Where do we start with in Aggie athletics? You and I were doing softball this weekend. Out of
Yes.
softball, 5 games over the weekend for Coach Jose Gonzalez Jr. and his crew, and A&T went 4-1 in those games. Did an outstanding job. Beat Coppin State twice and beat Norfolk State twice over the weekend. And it was a little cold, but we survived, Samaya.
Yeah, we survived. We survived. Between the rain and the cold, we definitely survived.
Yeah, between the rain and the cold, and a couple of W's there. Also in the springtime, men's tennis, 5-0. 5 and
Oh
0.
yeah.
Beat Shaw University on Sunday. They've got a couple of good wins under their belt. I think they just lost their first set of a singles match all year. So they've been straight sets, everybody, all year. They just lost a doubles match, too. But they're winning overall. All of their games have been 7-0. And so exciting time for Coach Bivens and his crew. Women's tennis is 2-0, so we haven't lost a tennis match all year. So that's always encouraging. So outstanding job by men's and women's tennis. And then baseball, a little HBCU baseball this weekend.
Yes. They were in Florida with the good weather at the Andre Dawson Classic.
Let's keep going back to the weather. Yeah, let's keep going back to the weather. It wasn't the greatest this weekend, but we got some games in, so that's good.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Coach Ben Hall and his crew. They won 2 out of 3 down there in the Andre Dawson Classic. Andre Dawson, of course, was a Florida A&M graduate, the 1987 NL MVP, so outstanding legendary baseball player, and great that they were able to honor him this weekend with some HBCU baseball. A&T beat Southern and they beat Grambling, and they lost to Prairie View A&M. But certainly that was an exciting time for Coach Ben Hall. And then what can we say about women's hoops, right?
Oh yes. They are doing a thing. That's
Yeah.
fourth quarter was crazy.
They outscored the game. I think was tied at 24-24. They outscored them 42-7.
Yes.
I think over the boys. So yeah, that's incredible. And Elon's not a bad basketball team. So kudos to Coach Robinson and his crew. They just went on a 3-point barrage and got really hot. They're still second place in the CAA. And this week, it's Stony Brook week, right? But we can't look ahead.
Yeah.
Can't look ahead. Coach Brown's going to get on us because we're looking ahead. We
Right.
got Northeast on Thursday, so we've got to take care of that business first, and then it's Stony Brook, the number 1 team in the conference, and it is very well could be for the conference regular season conference championship and for the number 1 seed and the CAA tournament. Of course, they've got a few games after Stony Brook that they've got to be able to take care of as well. Can't look over those games, but certainly a big game for the North Carolina A&T women's basketball program. Certainly their biggest game since they joined the CAA, and certainly we're wishing them all the best.
Yes, we are. Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride. Men's basketball had a tough week. They've had some injury problems without question. Man, they have been, man. The injury bug has hit them pretty bad. We got Landon Glasper back, our leading scorer, but then we lost our starting point guard, the floor general, the guy that makes everything go. And so Coach Ross and those guys have done a great job, but, man, they just haven't been able to avoid those injuries. They've had their big men out for big portions of the year. Jeremy Robinson has been out, probably their most senior player has been out. So just kind of a tough road for them in terms of just keeping everybody healthy. But hopefully everybody gets healthy enough in time for Washington, D.C.
Yes.
You go down there and make a run, So
Yes, definitely.
yeah, so that would be an outstanding trip for us. So, like we said, everything volleyball was over at Elon this past weekend for a spring volleyball matchup with Elon, and so everybody's doing the thing. Bowling finished third. They were home this weekend as well,
Yes.
so we were all over the place. they were home this weekend as well. Triad Lanes, they finished third at the Fernell Stallings Invitational. They did a great job. Here's the thing, Shemaya. Here's something interesting for you, okay?
Okay.
The number one team in the nation in bowling was here this weekend, Jacksonville State. They were here this weekend. The number one team in the nation in baseball is coming to War Memorial Stadium tomorrow.
Yes, they are.
Lake
Yes.
Forest Demon Deacons. How about that? I don't know if that's ever happened to us. But we've hosted two number one teams within, whether we've hosted a number one team at all, in any sport.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that we've had two coming in the past within 6 days is absolutely incredible. Shows where the program is going and where the department is going, that we're able to attract those kind of schools to our university. So good luck to Coach Ben Hall. Got the Demon Deacons. They played for the national championship last year, so they are very, very good. UNCG did beat them, though. UNCG beat them last week, 4-3.
Yes,
so
yes.
They keep hope alive, right? Keep hope
Yes,
alive.
hope alive.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that one. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be
For sure.
exciting for first pitch is at 4:00 tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. If you got time, go out to the ballpark, show the baseball team your support. That's going to be a big time game. Never happened here before. We invited the number one team in the country to come and play us, and so usually we're at their park. So please come in and join in that. That would be great for us as well. If we can't forget track and field, the men finished second. They finished 7 points shy of winning the first CAA title for A&T Athletics in history. So we were close. The women finished sixth, but the men certainly were close, and so we're counting on Coach Robinson to bring it through for us to win that first CAA championship. Speaking of winning some CAA championships, I know there's a guy on the line right now who wants plenty of them, and he's going about trying to do it during the off season. Let's bring in our head coach, Coach Vincent Brown. Welcome him back to the Pridecast. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Brian. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Great to see you, getting that camera position ready, and looking good, man.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm having some technical difficulties, so I had to leave the house and go out in my car.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, you just got to get it done, man.
That's right.
Yeah. Next device up, right? That's how.
That's exactly right.
And I'm having some problems here myself, so we're all in the same boat. No question about it. But Coach Brown just had a fantastic signing day. Talk a little bit about what your goals were and your staff's goals were as you guys left the season in November and were able to get into the offseason and do some recruiting. What were some of your goals in terms of recruiting?
Yeah, we really set out to get bigger up front on both the offensive and defensive lines. In particular, the defensive line, we needed depth and size at the wide receiver spot, so we're able to go out and find some kids that we really think have a outstanding future in front of them. We needed some depth on the back end. We got a couple of defensive backs, safety type players that we believe will come in and compete for playing time, and at the very least add significant depth to us. And we got a couple of transfer portal players that, we're hoping to come in and bring veteran leadership, confidence to the unit on both sides of the ball, and nothing can replace playing experience. So having a couple of guys that have played in a lot of college football games will, I believe, help benefit our guys.
What is that room like during the offseason when you're going over and you're trying to discuss players and trying to decide who you want to bring in? Is there a lot of back and forth, or there's a lot of disagreements and all of those kind of things? What is it like in that back room when you guys are trying to figure out how to put together a winning program?
Yes, we all, we watch almost all of our scholarship caliber players as a staff, especially when we get to late in December with the transfer portal in January. And so we watch those guys as a staff. We make decisions as to whether they can come in and help us. And if we believe they can, then we bring them on trips, official visits. And, one of the challenges with the transfer portal is the window is so narrow from when it opens until the end of the fall semester in December, and then the start of the spring semester in January. So you have a really narrow window to try to get kids onto your campus, to show them all that you have to offer, to get them admitted into school. And in many respects, especially with our transfer portal and our mid-year signees, and get them signed. And so a lot of work over the last couple of months.
How many conversations is that? Because, you talked about having to get them on campus. You talk about having to get them enrolled. You talk about having to get them acclimated in housing. How many conversations is that? And how many people on board have to be involved in that in order to make sure that we're getting the young people into school?
Yeah, there's so many people, and we couldn't do it without our partners across campus. From academics, Miss Alan Norris and her team, evaluating transcripts, Corey Lima and the whole compliance team, going through, making sure, transcripts are in, and, all the progress towards degree requirements, the admissions staff, so that our success is to not just recruit the players, but to get them onto campus and get them integrated into the A&T community in a very short window of time.
You've had a chance to kind of go back and assess things. It was your first time as a head coach. There were some ups and downs throughout the year. As you go back and as you had time to kind of look back on things, what were some of the challenges that you had? And then on the flip side, what were some of the promising things that you saw within the A&T football program and A&T family?
Well, let's start with the positives. We have a very resilient bunch of kids that fought to the very end. The last game of the season, you would have never known our record was what it was going into that last game. Our kids have fought. They have a lot of pride in what we're doing. We have some talented kids. I was talking with Coach Jay-Z a couple of days ago, and we knew going into the season there would be some challenges defensively just because of the lack of experience that front. We only had one player in the front seven that had ever played in more than 8 college football games, and only 4 players that had played more than 2 games. And so we knew that would be some challenges for us, but our kids fought extremely hard. We kind of found out what we need to do on both sides of the ball to try to be successful. And offensively, we know we had our struggles there, and I feel like, we've done some things to address what will allow us to really compete for a CAA championship. And so really, really excited about the spring practice coming up here in the next couple of weeks or so, and looking forward to getting prepared for the 2024 season.
No question. We're here with head coach Vincent Brown. He mentioned offense. Later on, I'm going to talk to the new offensive coordinator, David Marsh. He's going to come in and discuss some things with us. And then Coach also just mentioned spring practice. I think March 13th, I think that's the date that is sticking out of my head. And then April 13th is another date that's sticking out of my head. I believe that is the spring game. And Coach, talk a little bit about the spring. I'm hearing rumors that we want to blow it up this year, that we want to make it big, that we want to make it a big deal. How do we make this thing a big deal, Coach? How do we kind of get some people out, maybe put some barbecue on the grill? What do we do? You like mac and cheese, Shamaya? Mac and cheese a little bit?
I
Maybe?
love mac and cheese. Gotta
Mac
have
and cheese bring you to the game. Okay,
That's
all right,
right.
mac and cheese.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Quante.
how do we blow this thing up?
Yeah, Quante, our football AD, and Jordan, our DFO. They've been working closely with a lot of our alums and campus partners, trying to come up with ideas. The biggest thing is we just need our students and our Aggie family to show up. That's the biggest thing. We're going to have a lot of activities planned, as you alluded to, food, DJ, possibly members of the marching or the pep band, games to get the fans involved, and just to create a really festive environment. So, people want to come and see what we're all about going into the 2024 season.
No question. Come out and do you have a game time? Yeah, Coach.
Yep. So 1:00 kickoff on April 13th.
1:00 kickoff. Come on out and some good food and fire the grill, some good smells and some good football. I know the issue in the past has been depth, the number of players, being able to do offense versus defense. Do you see that as an issue this year, or is that something that we're starting to correct to where it looks like official spring game?
Yeah. So, our plan is to have a traditional spring game. But, one of the challenges is as you go through spring practice, sometimes guys get dinged up, they get nicked, they get injured, and depth becomes a real concern. And, our whole focus is to try to make that spring game a culminating event where we can see really what we have, who our playmakers are, and really kind of prep ourselves going into training camp.
We're here with head coach Vincent Brown. He is with us. I wanted to ask you only because everybody came up to ask me the question, but I kind of liked it. On Mondays, Coach would say it's a great day to be an Aggie, a great day in Aggie land, and people come up to me and say, hey, why does he say that? But I kind of liked it because it kind of felt like he was setting a tone, a mood, despite what was going on. He was kind of setting a tone. And he even mentioned that his wife asked him if he was going to use that, on one Monday or whatever. But tell us, what kind of motivated you to kind of stay on that, that great day thing, because I can't tell you the number of people that walked up to me, but after a while, I was like, I like it, man. Just be resilient and keep going. But what was kind of behind that for you?
Yeah. So, I kind of see myself as a realist, and in spite of all the things that went wrong during the course of the season, every Monday, the opportunity to stand there and address the fans, the alums, the people that care about football, Aggie football, to talk about our players, to see the growth of our players, and a lot of the growth that happens, it happens behind the scenes, and it doesn't really manifest itself immediately into wins and losses. And I felt so honored and proud to be able to represent the football team and what we're doing at this university, and not to let the temporary effects of not winning in the moment be a damper on what I truly believe is going to be a positive environment and a great environment for our kids to thrive and for us to win and compete for championships.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think, everybody wants to win, of course, but it's so much bigger. A&T is so much bigger than that. There's so many good things happening, around the campus, so many exciting things happen academically for our football team and all of those things. So when you look at the totality of things, yeah, it is a great day to be an Aggie. It's a great day to be in Aggie land. When you look at the totality of the things that are going on here at our university, we got car commercials, and all kinds of things going on. So, I think that is, to keep everything in perspective is such a good thing. Coach, let's transition to the offense. And I'm sure you heard enough of the murmurs throughout the season. What was some of the things that you kind of saw in terms of a need of correction? And as you went out and looked for an offensive coordinator, what were some of the things you were looking for?
Yeah, change is always very difficult, Brian. You put a staff together and you use your best judgment based on how people interview, the reputation that comes along with them. But ultimately, it's about building things where you are and not what you've done necessarily in the past, and being able to focus on, taking advantage of the players currently are. And that was probably the biggest force offensively last season, is that I felt like we didn't take advantage of the skill set of the kids in our program enough to give us a chance to score more points. And so, when things like that happen, and when you're asking that certain things be done and they're not done, it leads to changes. And I feel really, really excited about the change at offensive coordinator. Coach Marsh is talented. He's proven, and probably more so than that, he is open-minded and has a system that knows how to take advantage of the talent within the roster, and also how to take advantage of matchups with the defense. And that's one of the things that really kind of stood out with me, his ability to craft and develop the quarterbacks over the last several years in which he's been the offense coordinator and quarterback coach. Obviously, being here at A&T.
Oh no, we lost the head man. Yeah, that can't happen. There he is. Little trouble hearing him right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get him back here pretty soon. He brought up Coach Marsh, so let's bring him in. Let's bring in Coach Marsh, the new offensive coordinator. Welcome to North Carolina. Oh boy, he's got the gear already.
Oh yeah.
He's ready. He's got the pen thing working. He looks like an offensive coordinator.
It's so I know where it is.
Welcome to Aggie Land, Coach Marsh, man. It's super
that.
exciting to have you here. Great to have you here in Greensboro, on the east side of Greensboro, man. And there's nothing like Aggie Pride, and hopefully you'll see a lot of it as you go on. And but just tell me what kind of attracted you to North Carolina A&T? What kind of attracted you to the job?
Well, first, it's coming back to North Carolina. This is my third time back here. I think I keep just trading between the great states of Texas and North Carolina. So it was almost like coming home. I spent my formative years here, the college age, when I was out in the service out in the eastern part of the state. And I've just been slowly moving farther and farther west. But also just kind of like Coach alluded to about some of the generous things he was saying about me. And when we got in touch, is just the mutual respect of guys that I know that know him, and everything that they told me about him, that it was kind of a no-brainer of me trying to chase him down, just to work with a guy like that, because I got into this business to work with young people, and one thing led to another, and started working at the college level. But it was more of just working with people that want to help our young people and do it for more than just the X's and O's. I love the game. I can go coach at any level and have a blast with the X and O's, but it's about the kids. And that's the first thing that jumped out, is not just the pride of Aggie Land, but the pride of our kids and the student athletes. You talk about resiliency, like you could have told me we just won the conference last year, and I would have believed you with the energy that these kids have. That it's a testament to not only the head coach, but the staff, the training staff, the athletic trainers, the weight staff, the educators, our professors, our deans, everybody that's involved with this program. You just see it because it radiates from the kids. And to me, I couldn't be more pleased and excited to get going. But those were all little things that built up and made me want to get here as fast as possible.
Yeah, I understand that we may have had an Amber Alert as to why we lost Coach on the audio there, and hopefully we'll get him to chime back in when I ask him a few more questions. But you mentioned the military background. Can you take
Yep.
us through that a little bit? I think I feel like I should salute you or thank you for your
No,
service.
no, you're good. No, you're good. I appreciate it.
But can you take us through that a little bit and kind of what that was like for you?
It was amazing. It was awesome. It was sad. It was every emotion that you could imagine was that. Post 9/11, basically my entire generation of cousins and best friends all went in, all served. Some of us are still in. I shouldn't say us, but some of my brothers and sisters that I served with and actual blood relatives as well are still in. I actually just found out a guy I haven't seen in 15 years that I served overseas with lives down the dang street from here. And I just got reconnected with him. So I'm excited to be able to link up with him and get some lunch one of these days. But it was one of those things. It was a different time 20 years ago. Oh, gosh, 20 plus years ago it was just something I believed in my heart of serving and I continue to try to do that. I got out to be a teacher. But I've always believed in service and helping the generation after us, working with the generation before us, and all those things that go into it. And that was part of it. And then just being able to do that, it's unbelievable. As I get older, I can say it like that now, not just try to be a tough guy, but it was one of those things that it was a special thing and a special time, and grateful for it. Missed it every day, but thankfully I got my cousins that are still in it. One just got home after 2 years overseas. So I can't wait to be able to see him here in the next week or so. But it was an amazing thing, and it's taught me a lot of life lessons, and it's taught me how to grow as a person and learn from each other. We all have different experiences as we take this journey through life, and we're able to pass them on to each other. And that's the one thing that I think the service does is you can really learn how to communicate and talk with people from every walk of life. And that's probably the biggest thing that I took. One of the biggest things I took.
Yeah, I got to think that 20 years ago, you were a much younger man, like me, and I'm thinking,
just seasoned.
Yeah. I tell people I got toothpaste on my beard, but
yep.
But what kind of perspective does that give you when you're working with young kids? Because you were a young man in the military, so I'm sure seeing some things in life that most people don't see, seeing some tough things in life. So what kind of perspectives does that give you as you're working with young men on the football field?
The funniest one, and I guess the coach stern side of me would say, is that it kind of makes it a little tough for them to make an excuse about something once they learn that background, or some of the stuff that we've done in the time that I was in, because they really can't say anything. Especially being a college student athlete. That's probably the funniest one, because then all their buddies start giving them a hard time of like, how are you going to tell that guy that? So that's probably the funny one. But it's one of those real life things. We were all raised, or at least most of us were raised on the old black and white videos of don't do this because of this or whatever. And it was all these not necessarily far-fetched scenarios, but you didn't take it seriously because it was just this old school video that we all watched in middle school, high school, even in elementary school. And to me, the thing that I took from it is the real world application of lessons, and teaching from your own mistakes or mistakes that you saw somebody make, because then it makes it real to our young people that you can pass on to. Not just the old do as I say type mentality, but be able to teach them from good and bad and show them those things and the ramifications, good and bad ramifications, and justifications and benefits of things, because it becomes real for them. And so it's just one of those things, whether it was working with youth kids, middle school kids, high school kids, working in the Learning Resource Center at the high school that I was at, or now in the last 12 years, I don't even know, 12 years in college, that there's been a lot of things to be able to do and show. And I think that's what the military gave me, is the ability to share those situations with people, and then also have the foresight to see it of, hey, we're always going to have a certain number of kids that are going to need extra guidance in this area, or a certain number of kids that are always going to need guidance in this area, and not freak out that not everybody's at 100% all the time. And so to me, it's given me a lot of balance, and not necessarily zen in that world, but it's given me a lot of balance as far as working with our young people.
Tell us about your journey, because you mentioned high school, and I'm
Mhm.
figuring from the high school ranks, it's kind of hard to get into the college ranks, Division I, those type of things. So tell us about your journey from the military, high school, and then you're now Division I offensive coordinator, Campbell, Texas
Yep.
Southern, now North Carolina A&T. Take us through that and talk about the difficulty of kind of trying to raise yourself up through the ranks.
So I actually got out to become a teacher and just become a high school coach. That was the goal. I wanted to work with young kids. And as I got out, I was going to move back to Texas, or move to Texas. My best friend from the Marine Corps was going to school there. I was going to go to school there. I didn't know, being from Arizona, that you had to be a teacher to be a coach in the state. All their teachers are their coaches, no off-campus staff. So I ended up going back to Arizona, going to school there. Started coaching there. I had met a couple of coaches at a coach's clinic before I deployed, and they not volunteered. They offered me a spot if I ever got into coaching back in Arizona. So I went to work at Mesquite High School in Gilbert, Arizona, for Mike Reardon. I was the freshman B team head coach when I first got there. I didn't know anything but anything. I knew how to lead kids, but I didn't know football yet. And I had 67 kids by myself. I had one other guy that got there about once or twice a week. And thankfully, I had learned how to deal with leadership and managing time and kids as I learned the football side of it. And I just kind of showed up every day. I was working nights and weekends doing security work and going to school full time and then coaching full time. So there was a lot of 90-minute and 2-hour naps here and there while I did that. And started coaching. And then I just sat in the coach's office all day, doing my homework or sitting there learning and just being a sponge, sitting in the back, just learning as much as possible. So at the end of the year, a coach had to miss for a family emergency. And they're like, well, it's all right. Marshall just do it anyway. And so I got volunteered for my first varsity assignment in a playoff game. And then in the off season, we had a new school open in the district, and I got moved from freshman to varsity after 1 year. Still had a lot of learning to do, but when you work hard, or when you just show up and give effort, a lot of good things will happen. Just like for any of our student athletes that are on here, showing up and just giving effort will go a long way in the classroom. But it's that happened, and we were there for 3 years, and Mike retired out of the blue. And I didn't know, again, back in that boat of, I don't know what I don't know yet. I thought my career was basically over. I couldn't find a teaching job because the economic downturn was kind of just starting, and Arizona was hit really hard by it. And it shows you how hard work kind of spreads through wildfire, I guess, because I had people calling me to offer me jobs, and I was like, I don't even know you. Why are you calling me? And the running joke was, well, Mike doesn't like young coaches, and you're with him all the time, so you must be doing something right. So that was nice, and it was a good pat on the back. But I just liked working. But I really couldn't find a job, so I was trying to find a way into a profession, whether it's teaching, finding a teaching job, even though there wasn't any. Moving out of state to find a teaching job, or breaking into college, and even volunteering my time because I was still on the GI Bill. So I was trying to figure that out, and I got a job at Sorrel High School in Scottsdale, and then got a intern or an entry-level aide job there as well. So at least I got a couple dollars in my pocket. And we were a really, really good team, really, really great program. John Sanders was the head coach there, a lot of success. Jason Mons was on staff and took over and had a lot of success now at ASU. But we had a lot of really good players, so a lot of recruiters were around. So I made a lot of connections in the college side of things. And we were talking one day, myself and Noel Mazzoni and a couple others, and I mentioned, like, well, if you guys ever need a GA, let me know. And everybody looked at me crazy because I already had some gray in my beard. And they're like, how are you able to be a GA? I was like, well, I actually just graduated like 6 months ago from college. So I have 7 years to be a GA. And a year went by, didn't work out. And then the next year, it worked out, and I was able to go over to UCLA in 2013. And just, again, same thing, just be a fly on the wall and work, and fetch stuff, run copies. One of the great quotes that I took, it doesn't really apply to the modern world, but one of the great quotes there, because there were so many NFL guys and guys that played in the NFL or coached in the NFL for a long time, was collect as many keys as possible, whether it's the old school keys to the printer, the keys to the copier, the keys to the computers, whatever. And it's just make yourself as valuable that anytime somebody needs something, you're the person they call. So I took pride in that and worked there for a couple of years. And then when Coach Mazzoni was kind of building the staff, I ended up being able to work with the inside receivers with him and Coach Eric Yarber, who's with the Rams now. And they were very good to me in the sense that I got to run my own room the entire time I was there. So most of the kids, especially the inside receivers, the Y's and F's and Y's and H's, didn't even know that I was a GA. They thought I was their position coach. So that was very fortunate. And I was also the only person, one of two people in the box upstairs talking to Coach Mazzoni. So it really sped up my learning curve of the college game, not only from the X's and O's, the scheme, but also calling a game and setting up a game, because we were in a really, really good game one time, and it was supposed to be a shootout. College game day was there, and it turned into this defensive slugfest. And I kept harping at him. I was like, we have this. He's like, yeah, but defense is playing lights out. We have the lead. Let's not use it until we need it, just in case, because it was one of those plays that it's going to be the bag or we're going to be in big trouble. So we were just he saved in his pocket, but he taught me some of the nuances of calling a game in different types of games, playing complementary football to defense, to special teams, depending on how the flow of games go. Because sometimes you got to win 6-3. Sometimes you got to win 60-66. As long as you have one more point than another team, at the end of the day, that's all we're going to remember at the end of the year. But after a couple of years there, we went down to Texas A&M with Kevin Sumlin and his staff, and I was actually getting ready to go take OC job at a smaller college, and he asked me to go with him down to Texas A&M, and it was going to be very similar job where I was going to be kind of running my own room and being a GA still. And I was like, I don't know, I'm getting a little older. But I went. I was very fortunate. My cousins were going to school down there at the time, so I got to spend a year with them that I hadn't seen since they were really little. And then I got to meet Clarence McKinney, who was a running backs coach, and we hit it off, and we talked football nonstop, and we did a lot of recruiting together, a lot of that stuff where you develop that rapport, and you kind of, when you're the entry-level guy, you're interviewing for the job every day in front of every person on staff. And lo and behold, he told me one day, hey, if I become a head coach, you're going to be my offense coordinator. Okay. I'm just going to go about my job. Fast forward 3 more years. About 6 months later, I take the Campbell job as the offensive coordinator under Mike Minner as we transitioned them from non-scholarship to scholarship. Had a big jump on offense, had a lot of success, a couple winning seasons. And then coach got the Texas Southern job, another rebuilding job and turnaround job. Had a lot of offensive success there, did not have the overall success that we were looking for, but a lot of success. But it goes back to every day you're interviewing and you don't know how your name's going to get out there. You're just trying to work hard, and effort and showing up goes a long way, not just in the workforce, but the classroom and in life. And we have this phrase on offense everywhere I've been is rent is due every day. You got to get up and get something done. And so to me, that's kind of what my career has been, is rent is due every day, and I'm just gonna put the shoes on and left it and get the work done and go about it, and then try to have some fun while we're doing it, because it is a fantastic game and it's a fantastic staff, and I've had a fantastic journey.
Outstanding. Coach Marsh is with us. Also with us, Mike Glenn, who reminded me, even though we're hosting number 1 teams, A&T is the number 1 team in the nation, and number 1 school in the country. So shout out to Mike Glenn, Larry Jeter watching us here. I believe this is Sanchez. He says the Aggies are going to win a natty this year. We'll take that. We'll take that. No question about it. So thank you for joining us here. Before I bring Coach Brown back in, I think it's hard to ask someone what their offensive philosophy is, because I think it depends on personnel a lot. But, I think you've kind of seen some of the parts, or had time to see some of the parts that A&T has. Certainly KJ White got a lot of experience last year at the quarterback position. Amonte Jones is a tremendous athlete at the wide receiver position. Kenji Christian did a great job this year running the football. Shamik Blizzard, probably has a great future ahead of him. As you look at kind of some of the pieces that A&T has, what comes to mind in terms of the offense? And of course, that you got to add in the pieces that we've added during the offseason. But what kind of comes to mind for you as you look at the offensive outlook for North Carolina A&T in 2024?
The work ethic. You can see the tradition of this place. You can see the pride in it, and that goes a long way when they're expected and they know what a standard is to work to. That carries a lot of weight in this profession and in this world of college athletics and athletics overall, because the learning curve of learning how to get to that standard is normally the steepest and most difficult climb. These guys know it. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. We are kind of a throw it against the wall mentality in spring. We're going to throw a lot at them with the guys in the plan of let's see what we are really, really good at. Try to expand on that. Find what we're okay at. Try to improve it, but not run it, not do it as much if it's something that we're not good at. But philosophy-wise, we're gonna adapt to our personnel. Whatever our best personnel grouping is what we're gonna use, because there's no point in having if the three of us on the screen right now or the three of y'all are the best players on our team, you better not be on the sideline standing next to me. That's not very smart of me. So we're gonna, whether it's throwing the ball around, whether it's running the ball, any of that stuff, we're gonna do what's best for the kids. We're gonna adapt around them every year, and even every season within the season, we need to adapt to it and keep focusing on what we do well. We need to focus on what the quarterbacks are able to do well. We need to focus on what the line's able to do well, and adapting each game and each year to that. I think if we put our pride in front of ourselves as coaches and say this is what I do, sometimes that can get in the way if you don't have players that year. There's very few schools that are 2.5 deep, like the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world that have just had elite players that also are coached and play really well. So you have to be flexible and adaptable to whatever you have on staff and on the roster. But I like the pieces. I'm playing with the puzzle every day, trying to figure it out of where we're going to go, what we're going to maximize, because we have a really deep running back room, we have a really deep tight end room, and we have a very talented wide receiver room. So it's one of those things of like, all right, who am I taking off the field and how long am I taking them off the field for? And that goes within the puzzle of trying to balance everything that we're doing. But the first thing we have to do is get the plan installed and coached up, and not just the players, but get all the coaches on the same page. Because if we're not speaking exactly the same, then we're not communicating at all, as we all know from interpersonal communications in life, is we got to get us on the same page, get the players on the same page, and then get going within where we're going X's and O's wise. But philosophy wise, I believe in a simple way is we're going to have a coach's playbook, which I hope to be as big as possible. But then we want a player's playbook each year that's going to adapt to the kids that we have.
Coach, I think we can throw the ball to Shemaiah out of the backfield. I think that, that'll be a smart move for us. Before we get to the QBs, I just want to be able to address this. Lonnie asked about the 3.4 GPA standard for walk-ons. I just want Coach Brown to be able to kind of nail that down for us a little bit. That question gets asked a lot, and I think there is a very good, very, very good explanation for it. So I'm gonna let Coach Brown kind of address that for us a little bit.
Yeah. So the 3.4 requirement is for enrolled students, not high school kids that are coming out. We got some high school recruited walk-on that don't necessarily have to meet that 3.4 threshold. And here's the reason for that threshold. When I got here, there were probably 12 to 14 kids on this team as walk-ons that were below a 2.0, like 1 point anything. And it became a drain on the academic resources of our academic support staff. When you have so many kids that are non-scholarship that are time in the resources of our academic support staff. So, my belief is that those kids should enhance the academic profile of your team, not bring it down. And so, if you can't manage your academic expectations, football, then you're not going to help us anyway. And so we want kids, scholarship and non-scholarship kids that are strong students. And so we made a point of saying, look, if you're going to be a student at A&T and planning to walk on here, here's the threshold you got to start at.
That's our head coach, Vincent Brown. I like that, actually. That's a pretty good way to look at it. I want to ask both of you, the question is always going to come up. The quarterback room was an interesting room last year. It's going to be interesting again. Like I mentioned, KJ got a lot of time on the field, bringing an experienced quarterback out of Houston who's going to enhance the quarterback room. As you guys look at that quarterback room, what are your thoughts about it going into the spring season?
Well,
go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I'll say, I talked to the guys, we have player development meetings on Wednesday. And last Wednesday, we talked about handling controversy, in particular as it relates to the media and how the media thrives on controversy. And I pointed out in the quarterback room, there's going to be a lot of questions about this room, like who's going to be the starter. And in the running back room, how many touches is this guy going to get versus that guy? And what we've tried to do is to make sure everybody understands that they all have a role. And we're going to try to find a way to play our very best players. We're not going to have our best players sitting on the sideline. But we also want everybody to understand that it's oriented. It is team before me. And I think, we got some talented kids in our quarterback room. There's a lot of growth and development that has to occur. We won't know until probably, I don't think we'll even know coming out of the spring who the guy or guys will be. We're just going to try to create an environment for all of them to thrive, excel, and learn.
Your thoughts, Coach Marsh?
100% exactly spot on, especially the statement of we probably won't know out of spring. The biggest thing with our system and what we're doing is there's a lot on the quarterback. It's very pro-stylish in the mindset of how much control we put on the quarterback as far as his availability to do things. A lot of places don't give them the freedom to change a bunch of stuff. They have complete control from last week, basically, to make plays right and do things that they need to do. So sometimes some guys don't get it till after spring ball, summer, second, third year. There's a reason that there was, for so long, it was older players that succeeded in versions of this offense. But we've had a lot of success where we've been with. We had a kid that this past year that came in and battled for the job and didn't get it, and then through an injury got it and went on to become newcomer of the year in the conference. And then we had the same thing a couple of years ago with a freshman that went on to become a Jerry Rice finalist as freshman of the year. So we've done it with young guys, but it comes down to the time and the energy that they put into it. And when it clicks, because there's a lot of learning that goes with it, I'd have to say, though, the group is really hungry. They're in the office a lot. They just stop by and ask questions. They're sending messages. The phone's nonstop right now asking questions. And so it's been fun with that, but it is a competition. And it's one of those things that it's one of the few positions where normally only one person plays. But there's different skill sets in that room that some of those guys need to be on the field and do some different things and have packages that do some different things. But there's a lot of talent. So we'll see. Again, it's part of the puzzle right now. The biggest thing is moving the team forward, and that's what they got to realize. It can't be about me. It's got to be about we and the team. because that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Because if we start doing any of the negative stuff, it's going to have ramifications on the team. And that's the biggest thing is our room. We have to work together, even though we are individually striving for things. We have to individually work towards the team goal through the competition. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining and interesting. And they all bring something different to the table, not just personalities, but skills. And it's going to be a fun spring and hopefully a good summer and fall.
Outstanding. I got some questions in the chat here. Paisley Dean wants to know from both of you, I'm thinking offense maybe, what does success look like for you and Coach Brown 2024 season?
Yeah,
winning a lot. That's right.
Yeah, winning a lot. And, and I've shared with our staff, my expectations are higher than anyone's. And I have belief that that we can be not just a competitive team in the conference, but a team that can really compete at the highest levels within this conference. And that's the standard to compete at the highest level of the conference.
Coach Marsh, what does success look like for you on the offensive end?
So I'm going to go off of what I saw on the screen of what does success at A&T look like to me. It's two parts: winning life, because we got to win on the 12 Saturdays that we're guaranteed, and hopefully it gets us to about 15 of them. That means a nice little playoff run in there, but it also means getting our student athletes that nice piece of paper at the end of the trail. And I think that's a big thing, and I think Coach Brown and the staff has done a great job with that. And I'm looking forward to having that type of success as well, as that we're graduating positive members of society.
Outstanding. That is an outstanding answer. Coach, and I thought this, especially when I saw Villanova come to town, they were really big. But Leander Turner wants to know, have we sufficiently upgraded the size and physicality of the North Carolina A&T football team?
Yeah, I think so. Our plan actually was to try to challenge it through the transfer portal, especially defensively. That didn't work out. So fortunately for us, we were able to go out and find some really talented high school players that are big. Keon Webb is a 6'6", 295-pound defensive tackle from Florida. Jacob Jenkins is a 6'3", 315-pound defensive tackle from Florida. Chris Kinsey is a 6'1", 290-pound defensive tackle here in North Carolina. So, I think we definitely more physical inside players that we needed. We added a pass rusher that I think will bring some much needed pressure on the quarterback, and Joshua Hardy. And then, we got some talented young guys on the back end that I think are going to come in and be able to help us also.
Outstanding. We're here with our head football coach, Vincent Brown, his offensive coordinator, Dave Marsh, and we've got some BNCCU things in the chat as well. So, Coach Marsh, do you know anything about North Carolina Central University, that school up in Durham?
I had to catch my breath right there to remember I got to do some coach speak sometimes. I do know that there's a school down the street.
Yeah. A good answer. That's a good answer.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think we're talking about Duke either, but yeah.
No.
There's certainly an HBCU down the street. And,
yes, sir. I know a lot about them. I know that they're on the schedule for a little while and carry on some traditions, and hopefully the east side of Greensboro's traditions.
Question. Trav liked your answer. Very diplomatic and very good. No question about it. We actually head to Eagle Land this year to play NCCU. Winston State is also on the schedule as an HBCU. And then, Coach, you got Wake Forest on your schedule as well. What are your thoughts? I've never asked you about playing a Division I FBS institution, a Power 5.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've had a chance to compete against some Power 5 programs at the FCS level before. been a part of winning some of those games, beating some FBS programs. Wake is a talented team. I think Coach Clausen's one of the best coaches in college football. And so, I'm excited that we don't have to hop on a plane or a 12-hour bus ride, to play an FBS game, literally, 40 minutes up the road and have good quality opponent and give our kids a great experience playing against them.
No question. North Carolina A&T kicks off the season August 29th on a Thursday night at Wake Forest, and certainly looking forward to that. Before we go there, we start spring practice on March 13th. Those days are the 13th, 15th, 18th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 27th, April 1st, April 3rd, April 5th, April 6th, April 10th, April 12th. And then we get some barbecue on April 13th, play a little spring game there at Truist Stadium. Coach, can you kind of go over the policy in terms of fans coming out to see practice?
Yeah, so our practices are closed to the general public, but they're open to all Aggie students, Aggie football alums, and all we ask is that they contact our football office, the DFO, to let us know they're planning to come. Obviously, we don't want folks from up the road watching what we're doing, and people trying to get a beat on what are we going to be doing offensively. We try to keep everything in-house, and so in order to keep things in-house, you got to kind of limit the number of people that have access to your program. But we want our students and our true Aggie football supporters to be able to come out and enjoy practice. We just want you guys to contact the office and let us know.
I'll be remiss if we didn't talk a little defense. I mean, it's been kind of a little offensive heavy, and we got a linebacker on with us, the Undertaker. So we got to talk a little bit. You got some young talent over there on the defensive side of the ball. Cade, Isaiah Joshua was a Sports Illustrated freshman All-American, so that was outstanding for him. Talk about the defensive side of the ball and some of the improvements that you would like to see on that side of the football.
Yeah, so you mentioned Cade and Josh Isaiah, two really, really talented freshmen that came in and played a lot of football for us, made a lot of plays. Tremendous future in front of them. We got other young guys that I think are going to step up and give us some quality play. Terrion George, who played a little bit last season. We got some veteran guys in Henry Daniel at defensive end that I think is going to bring more to the table than last season, where we had him playing inside kind of position. And then we got some veteran players that safety with Ty Williams and David Laney that I think will be able to help kind of mentor our younger players that are extremely talented. One of the challenges last year, playing with so many guys, we made a lot of mistakes defensively, and we literally just talked about it today. What we want to get accomplished coming out of spring, and those things are making sure that our players know what to do and know how we expect them to do it, so that we don't beat ourselves. And I've always felt like mistakes, more than the other team being more talented, are usually the things that cause you to lose. So our focus is on eliminating mistakes and the things that cause you to lose games.
We had a question about uniforms, and I just kind of wanted, I know you probably don't get into the day-to-day about uniforms, but how much of a morale booster is that for kids? I mean, how much do you kind of want to let them experiment with the new uniforms and all that kind of thing? How much does that play into, getting them pumped up and wanting to be successful? How important is that? I know, everybody gets into the new uniforms and all that kind of stuff and how they look. So is it true if they look good, they play good?
to some degree, you want the kids to be excited about the game. And the uniform combination is part of the excitement, and I don't pick it. I let our leadership council decide what we're wearing, and they have the voice of the team as to what they want to wear, and we want to look good. We want to be swagged out when we go out, and people are saying, "Hey, sweet uniforms,"
I love it, man. I love it. I love when the head coach says swagged out. That means we're ready. That means we're ready for 2024. No question. Any trepidations about 12-game schedule versus 11?
No, not really. I think it'll give us a chance to really see what we have, and I think the schedule bodes favorably for us in getting our younger players an opportunity to get game ready, and so really excited about just the opportunity to play.
Outstanding. Coach Marsh, before we get into a little this or that, question about running backs. Ulysses Cozart, thank you for watching. How do you plan? Do you use them out of the backfield a little bit? Do you kind of let them tote it? Is it kind of running back by committee? Kind of what is your philosophy on using your RBs?
Get the ball to the best players. And I know that sounds idiotic and simple, but that's who I am. I want to keep it as simple as possible. It's a great question of moving them around and doing different things. We do a lot of things out of empty or with the running backs in different spots all over the field. This past year, our running back was ended up the second leading rusher in the country and the all-time leading rusher in school's history, but also I think was third on the team in receiving, maybe fourth. So we do a lot of different things to maximize their skill sets, and we have a lot of tags and adjustments that we can do based off the personnel's ability, because each one of the backs that I've watched so far is a little bit different than the other one, so they're going to bring different things to the table. So we'll do very much an NFL style of game plan and adjustments and tags to make sure that certain guys are doing certain things. But again, I got to hit the ground running in spring, and everybody's going to learn everything and then just put the puzzle together and find out what each one of them brings to the table of what piece of the puzzle they do best, and try to maximize those guys. And whether it's in the pass game, the run game, lining up as a receiver, fly sweep stuff, lining up at quarterback, can they throw for trick plays? We got to have a deep bag of tricks in there. So you got to keep it a little fun and entertaining. So everybody, and I love it because I have one of the running backs text me nonstop, all sorts of ideas and thoughts. And I'm like, I can't wait to see how good a football player you are, but you might be a heck of a coach because you're already on that path of studying the game. So it's first of all, that was a heck of a question. I love that one. I almost got jealous that I didn't get the uniform question. I know I'm not the head coach, but I was waiting for that one.
It's yours, man. It's yours. Take that.
No, it was, again, it was a heck of a question, and I can't wait to see what the guys can do. And I've seen a little bit of it from the film from last year, and they bring some different things to the table that I haven't had for a little while. But I do love having guys that are different because it's just more for a defense to prepare for. If you have this back and that back, and they all bring something a little bit different, that every time one guy's on the field, they have to think about that, and it takes away from what they're actually thinking about true X's and O's wise when they're trying to have to think about one individual at a time. So that's going to be really fun to play with.
No question. Outstanding conversation here. I know we got to get these guys out of here. It's dinner time, so I know don't want to keep football coaches away from dinner, but give us a little this or that. Shamaya, give us a little something to make them think about it here.
Okay. So we're gonna start it off with Super Bowl. It was a couple weeks ago. So who are you guys going for? The 49ers or the Chiefs?
I just wanted to see a really good game.
He took my answer.
You knew you won't get that one. Yeah.
Right. I was trying.
But I felt Kansas City would be the team to come out on top. When you get quarterback play like Patrick Mahomes, it's hard to overcome that.
Definitely.
100%. I loved watching the back and forth between the coaches and the adjustments. I thought both defenses did a great job a majority of the game, and then you just saw Andy Reid and Shanahan in their bag with some offensive adjustments in the fourth quarter and into overtime. As you saw them make some adjustments to different things, and it was what I wanted. It was a really good game and enjoyable, and being able to talk some ball with getting to know the coaches and staff and be able to spend some time with them and socialize and watch ball and talk about it and compare notes on what we're seeing. So I got out of it what I wanted. I hope everybody else did.
You got Usher, right, Shemai? You got Usher, right?
Yeah, I was going for Usher all day long. All day long. So which one are you guys looking forward to the most? The spring ball or starting the season in the fall?
Always, the coach side says spring because that's the thing that's on the agenda right now. But, there's nothing like preparing for the fall, the excitement of the start of the school year, the first game of the season. There's so much energy and excitement around it that I can't wait. Spring ball is a necessary part to get to the start of the fall.
I'm going to go with something that I heard while I was in the waiting room, which is that mac and cheese during the spring game, because that's actually what I've been thinking about since somebody talked about it. So I just need to be pointed in that direction after the game. But no, it's spring ball, mainly because I haven't been on the field with the guys in that sense. So for me, I can't wait to get out there with the team, the staff, our support people, our athletic trainers, our weight room staff, to get out there and really just get everything going and going in the right direction. And getting that work in that we need to make a run here in the CAA.
Oh my gosh, there's nothing better than the start of football season. Oh, it's great. Go ahead, Shemai. It's so wonderful.
So Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady all day. Can't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Coach Brown played for the Patriots, by the way. I just want you to point that out.
Yes, I know. That's why I was ready for that one.
I'm going to go out of left field for two lefties on the hook right now. I got to go Steve Young and Michael Vick because I got to throw a lefty out there since you only threw right-handers out there.
That was good.
Two very good running quarterbacks, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no question.
So besides the homecoming game during the greatest homecoming on earth, what do you look forward to the most? All day tailgating or just the overall Aggie experience? Well, Coach Marsh, you will find that out this year, but Coach Brown.
just the overall experience. I don't really get to enjoy the tailgating, like the fans do. But I love the environment, the experience of A&T football on game day.
Yeah.
Somebody got to start bringing Coach Brown a plate. Like, I feel like that should be like a
Definitely, that's
requirement
what you we got to make sure we get you a plate this year.
Yeah, give him a plate. Give him a 2 or 3. That's not right. Yeah. The man works hard during the game, man. You got to give him a plate.
Right. Yes. So 1 p.m. game time or 7 p.m. game time?
Good one.
I personally love the early game times.
Same.
I agree.
Same. I love the earlier the better.
Yes, definitely. So Nick Bosa or Myles Garrett?
I have to go with Bosa. I haven't really gotten a chance to watch Myles Garrett play much.
I watch Myles in practice a lot at Texas A&M, so I got to go with Myles. And wow, I'll just leave it at that to watch him in person work. But both outstanding players. But I'll go with Myles on that one.
All right, give us one more, Maya.
Okay, last one. So NFL Thursday night football or Sunday night football?
Sunday night.
Definitely.
Traditionalist. I like that.
See, I got to go out of left field on you again. I got to go college football on Thursday. Just like the question that I didn't get to answer because I wasn't here for it is I love college athletics. I love college football as much as I love coaching it. I love the traditions of it. And so to me, you give me any college football game and I'll be glued to the TV. It doesn't matter who it is.
Love that.
Love it. Coach Marsh, our friend ODB who's watching it on us wants you to know that the tight ends are always open.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So just so you're aware, they're always open. Thanks, ODB, for watching us today. Appreciate it. No question about it. We'll leave on this one. Coach Brown, a lot of first-year head coaches here at North Carolina A&T, you, Coach Ross, Coach Gonzalez, just a number of new coaches here. Do you guys ever kind of consult to try to, as you guys navigating Aggie Land together, kind of some of the things that you guys have learned over the past year or two?
Yeah, I've had a chance to, at great length, talk with Coach Ross. He was very supportive throughout the course of the season as we were going through our challenges. He would send me motivating and inspirational messages about what we're doing, and I've tried to be the same, without bothering him or inundating him with messages. But it's all about laying the foundation of what you want your program to be long term, and I think we all understand the expectations and what what it should look like, and it doesn't happen overnight, although we want it to happen overnight. That there's a process that goes into building sustained success at a high level. And so from Coach Ross and the other coaches within the department have been tremendously supportive.
Outstanding. Great to hear. Gentlemen, you guys have been great. This has been very informative. We've learned a lot about Coach Morris, learned a lot about our recruiting class, and we're just excited. Football season is around the corner. The spring is going to get going here pretty soon, again, March 13th. And then don't forget, April 13th, 1 p.m., we're going to blow this thing out, man. It's going to be big. It's going to be exciting. Jordan and Quante are coming up with all the great ideas. It's going to be an Aggie Pride good time. And again, Coach Morris, welcome to Aggie Land, man. We look forward to many, many great seasons with you. And we'll come back next time, have some more A&T guests here on the Aggie Pridecast. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.